Hey guys and girls, I'm going to try something right now. I walked down here to the dock and I'm going to try something. You see that little bait spinning around out there? And this is a spinning reel that we lost in the lake. It's a Jimmy Houston little ultralight by High Tech HT. It's just a little combination spinning reel. Price sells for about $29. It's ultra light. It's very, very light. You see that rod tip right there? Whoops. See that rod tip? Can you see it? Trying to get it in front of the camera. I can't. I just barely see it. See that rod tip, how limber that is? That's very, very limber. This is a little crappie magic, a little Lucky Strike crappie magic, tiny, tiny crankbait. I got a note, and it's a picture from my buddy Daniel Arms this morning. And Daniel talked about that him and Houston, his son, had been fishing a lot. Daniel Arms got a great YouTube channel and Facebook channel called Arms Family Homestead. Arms Family Homestead. He's got about, I don't know, he got 700,000 or 800,000 people on YouTube and about that many on Facebook. Great channel, great channel. He's a full-time, getting a bite out. I got a couple bites on it. But anyway, he sent me some pictures, 4 or 5 pictures, and they were holding up big bluegill. They fish in Broken Bow Lake here in Oklahoma. And holding up big bluegill that they were catching on crankbaits. They had bass crankbaits on, large-sized crankbaits. Looked like they were Lucky Strike crankbaits. Looked like they were deep smoothies. And 2 or 3 of these fish were foul hooked. Those bluegill were hitting those big crankbaits and getting foul hooked, and they were catching them. And some of these bluegill looked like they weighed a pound. So I wanted to get them down here and put on my little crappie magic and see if I couldn't show you how to, when that happens to you in the summertime, get you a little ultra rod like I've got right now, and crappie fish. That's right, crappie fish. Now I think I've got a bass. I don't mean crappie fish, bluegill fish. I don't get excited when I get a fish or anything. I can't even talk. But get you this is probably a bass. It might be a big old crappie, a big old bluegill. But you want to get you a small bait that is a crappie magic, called a crappie magic, and it will catch those bluegill, and you can actually catch them in the mouth. Get back, Benelli. Benelli is really excited. No, Benelli. Hey, no, Benelli. Do you see that? I don't know if you saw it or not. The fish fell off it, but it was hooked in the mouth with that little crappie magic bait. This bait is tiny. It's a very, very small bait. I think we've had some kind of sale on them, selling for $5 or something over at Lucky Strike or at jimmyhouston.com. You see how small that is? I just kind of hold my hand up there. You can see how it fits in the palm of my hand. It's a small bait. You want to throw it on ultralight, and that's a beautiful color right there. That's a rainbow color. I don't know can't remember what they call it. I thought that was a bass on this little bitty tiny rod. It took me a long time to get it in. But you can catch big giant bluegill on that little crappie magic. And I answered Daniel Arms Neil and telling him, said, those are great bluegill. What you need to move down to a little small tiny crankbait like a crappie magic, and put it on ultralight on the spinning rod, 6 or 4 pound test line. Got another one. And you're going to be able to catch some big bluegill, and you can catch a lot of them. Now your bluegill will hit a lot of different baits. This is not near as large as the other one was. Yeah, this is a lot smaller. But this is such a light rod, and this is such a light rod. It's a big bluegill. This is such a light rod, and I've got the drag set, so he was pulling drag. It's a pretty good size bluegill, but now the other one was probably twice that size. That bluegill right there is good size. Get a hold of him here. Now you do have treble hooks. I've got the barb smashed down that hook. It's a pretty good size bluegill. And you're going to be able to catch a lot of them. And you can go lots of places. You can go lots and lots and lots of places. But now he's thinking about jumping in the lake and going to get that. You go to lots of places and catch bluegill. And the summertime's the time to catch them. They're spawning in a lot of places right now. And so you can get around the beds and really catch some giants. I just wanted to catch a couple over here and just give you that tip for summertime fishing, because it gets hard to catch bass in the summertime. This water temperature is above 90 degrees, and it gets difficult to catch them. But you can actually catch an awful lot of fish on this little crappie magic. Now you're going to catch bass and crappie on it also. You'll probably catch smaller bass mostly. You might catch some large ones, but you're going to catch. There, I made a cast and didn't catch a fish, but I've made 3 casts here and caught 2 fish. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And I've actually caught both of them throwing way out there. You can throw the bait a long way. I've got the wind behind me. If you're fishing in the summertime, you normally don't have too much wind. especially if you're fishing early in the morning or late in the evening. You don't have too much wind. But we've got a weather change coming in here. It's actually the 4th of July. This is 4th of July fishing right now. The 4th of July. And just fishing that little crappie magic. Want to get it down deeper. It'll run about 4 or 5 feet deep. It runs a lot deeper than you might think. Normally it's running about 2.5 feet deep. The lighter the line you put this on, the deeper it'll run. You'll put it on 4 or 6 pound test line, you get a little bit more depth out of it. I think this is 8 pound, maybe even 10 pound test, which is a little bit too big for this small reel. And this reel's not the smoothest working reel right now because it's, like I said, it fell in the lake. We fished it out. It had been in the lake for a few months before we got it back. But it still works. Still works fine, still catch fish. Trying to see if I can catch one more before I end this. Every now and then a big bass will get a hold of it. And that's called a crappie magic because when crappie are spawning, you get this bait around crappie are spawning and really catch a lot. There's another fish right there. That's a pretty good one right there. Oh, you see how that rod's bending? Look at that rod bending right there. Look at that. That's something. It's fun to catch. Look at that guy. He's pulling like crazy. I mean, he's really pulling. This is probably just a big, it could be a bass. On this light rod, it's hard to really know. We'll see what we got here. But all of these fish are hooked in the mouth. Now, the pictures that Daniel was sending me this morning, all of those fish were hooked in the back and in the side. It meant that those bluegill were striking those larger crankbaits, but they were just getting foul hooked. They wasn't getting hooked in the mouth. And here's the other thing that's going to happen. Fishing this bait, you're going to also catch some bass. You see that? That's a nice little 12, 13 inch bass. A bonus. You're going to catch a lot of bass on it, absolutely no doubt. Crappie magic for the summertime. If you don't have you a few of those in your tackle box, get on jimmyhouston.com. Go get you a few. Anywhere Lucky Strike Lures or so. It's a pretty nice little bass. Really fun on ultralight. Really fun on ultralight. Guys and girls, remember, I sure do love you. Go fishing, go fishing. I love fishing, and I love you.